and a warm welcome to the E-Trans Am series. It's round 7 of the series and we're going back in time again. I'm Jonathan Green, and today another special event for Trans Am and the E-Trans Am Championship as we take you back in time to Bridgehampton, which is one of the great circuits of old, sadly not longer existing, but during the 50s and 60s, the bridge, as they called it, was one of the most feared and challenging racetracks in America. Sterling Moss once described it as the most challenging course in America. And in the heyday of Can-Am and Trans Am, all the greats raced here at Bridgehampton. And today we've got a full field of young and experienced drivers from our Trans Am series getting ready to take on this amazing circuit. And we're looking down at it now. It's just off Long Island, or it's on Long Island, and it's part of the tri-state area and was always very popular at its height. Some 80,000 fans would come to Bridgehampton and enjoy, and it was part of the Canadians and the Americans' loves to go to circuits like Bridgehampton and Mosport, and obviously Road America. So it's one of the jewels in the crown. Sadly, it's a golf course these days, but as you can see, the sea in the background, it was perched right on the beaches, hence all the sand from side to side. But that too is an issue because it's dusty, it's dirty, and it's narrow. Talking of which, Ben Sissle's back. Ben, how are you?
I am doing great. I'm so excited to be here at Bridgehampton. It's so cool to look at this track because we're, like we did at Riverside, it's like we're in a time machine. But what's beautiful about this is you'll notice, unlike any track that we race in modern days, it's totally unsafe. You know, there aren't a lot of catch fences. Basically, these guys are going into sand dunes, up hills, into trees. If they go off course, it's really fun to do this throwback. And as we were watching the laps, Jonathan, it is a rough circuit, so it's going to be really fun to see how they're getting traction in these cars. We'll
take you around the circuit as we go on to, you can see in the top of the center of your picture, that is 8 minutes and 54 seconds now as we look at Tyler Casera, our championship leader, on his out lap. He is in the number 4. He is our championship leader with 4 wins. He has got the bit between his teeth. I watched the practice race that we had on Thursday, and he in fact won both those races. So definitely Tyler Casera sporting an all-new, completely shaved head for extra speed, I may add. And he and Josh Hurley have dominated. What a great championship. You can never know when you start an E-Trans Am Championship. You could never know who would be good, who would be bad, who would be indifferent. But it's been a joy to see both Hurley and Casera dominate, and then our own 6-time champion, Ernie Francis Jr., not far off each and every weekend. He's had a win, has Ernie, at Daytona, but the lion's share of those wins have been to Casera with 4 and Josh Hurley with 3.
Yeah, and Jonathan, I don't know about you, but I have learned so much in these, 7 or 8 weeks that we've been doing this together. And I never would have thought, and this just goes to my ignorance, how seriously our drivers would take this. And now they are approaching this in our drivers meetings like they would any race weekend. And like we're hearing every week, seems like each week somebody's upgrading their system or trying something new. And everybody, it seems like in our E-Series paddock, is taking this just as seriously or maybe even more serious than they are their real race cars.
Well, we take a look at championship contender Josh Hurley from Livermore in California. And he's had a rough time of it. He's upgraded his pedals to Heusenfeld. So I finally got that right. There's Archer, who won last time out at Spa. But going back to Josh Hurley, yeah, he's upgraded his pedals because his dad now wants to go sim racing, having watched Josh go round. So he's giving Dad the perfect pedal, and he's upgraded to the even more premium stuff. But Josh said he hasn't had a lot of practice at this circuit. Doesn't suit his style that much. And sadly, he's got an ailing dog at the moment sitting with him by his sim, who has kept him up most of the night because he's not too well. Yeah, just, you know, it's not been an easy time for Josh Hurley. So we wish him well, and we wish his 4-legged friend well. I did notice, just straight out the box, when we were in the drivers' meeting, I don't know if you noticed this, Ben, but a la sort of shake and bake, as in Talladega Nights, Josh has got a tiger in his house. So I don't know if this is his fear or he's using the Tiger to get over his fear, but it seems to be working for him.
Yeah, like he's got a cougar in his sim. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't notice that. I like.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny because he sits in a chair when he does the driver's briefing, and this cat literally just walks across the top of the chair.
Well, no surprise. First and second is Hurley and Casera, and they're running super close to each other, just like they have week after week.
Big news for this weekend. I am delighted to announce that we have a bona fide IndyCar driver with us. Not just a bona fide IndyCar driver, one of the most popular men in IndyCar, Connor Daly, is joining us in Trans Am. And it's funny because I had a conversation with Connor in real life, not on the virtual world, and said, hey man, why don't you come? Because he's always, he's been one of those guys. He's got a great drive this year with both Carlin and Ed Carpenter. And he's driving really well, but he's been in and out of cars. He's never had the full season. He's been racing Indy since 2013 and had a very successful run before that in GP3 and so on. But delighted to have him here. And I said, hey, you should come out and try Trans Am. He said, I'd love to. So this could be a precursor to seeing Connor in a bit of muscle car. The all green Irish colours. His father, of course, Derek, Formula One star. I didn't know this, but his mom was a world champion jet skier as well. So he comes from a very competitive family. So we'll be looking out for Connor Daly. I know those fans of Twitch, if you want to hear something fun, go to Connor Daly's Twitch, because he's a bit like Lando Norris. He's always got something to say. He's always smack talking. This man doesn't do any smack talking. Edward Savagian. Oh, that's Scott Borchetta. Wow, we've got some stories about Scott Borchetta. Scott has had to get his second computer of the Trans Am Championship. Now, this is a neighbor of yours, Ben. What's going on down at Shea Borchetta?
Well, we've been watching, and I think of all of our drivers in this Esports Championship, I think he's putting in the most laps, the most practice laps. So he may be just running through computers like you would run through engines if you did that much practice laps.
Like, I think it was for Spa or one of them, he did over 500 laps. No, not Spa, because that was too many laps. But for one of the tracks, he did over 500 laps. It was incredible. Anyway, he wants to thank, as we do, Main Gear, who supplied him with another computer Thursday night in Nashville. So he's had 24 hours. Whoa! And as I say that, Borchetta has gone for a little bit of a wander here. I don't know what happened there, but I think he might have slipped his hand off the wheel there as we go back to Ernie Francis Jr. Well, I hope Scott's all right. Wow. Well, he's well known.
Like we were saying, it doesn't have the catch fences. I guess the tree branches become the catch fences here at Bridgehampton.
Well, as we tried to allude to the other week, in fact, we've got a show coming out that will be posted on our GoTransAm.com website, and of course on the app. If you haven't downloaded it yet, please do. But we did a show with Scott Borchetta, and he very, very kindly showed us around his truly amazing car collection. Scott Borchetta, well known in the music business, very successful in the music business with Big Machine, and he is here representing Big Machine Vodka, another one of his outcries. But that crash I just saw, that's got the beginnings of a country song right there. I mean, Borchetta in the Woods in Bridgehampton. I mean, I can see it being a #1 hit somewhere in Nashville.
Yeah, maybe.
Back with Ernie Francis Jr. and One South Weld on the side of the car, and I saw an article on GoTransAm.com talking about how he's looking forward to going back to the real world. And finally, Ben, we can talk about that. We are going back to the real world. You this week and me in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so excited. We're going to be with Trans Am Series at Mid-Ohio. We're going to be broadcasting, live streaming both days, Saturday and Sunday. We've gotten a lot of feedback that our fans would like to see the test days and the qualifying with Trans Am, so we are giving that to you at Mid-Ohio, which will be June 27th and 28th. Make sure you download the Trans Am app that's available at the Apple App Store or Google Play. Get the Trans Am app, and you are going to get a lot of great footage from Mid-Ohio, which is always one of our most competitive Trans Am weekends.
Yeah, and you know what's so cool about streaming is, you can watch it anytime. You don't have to tune in live. And in fact, if you miss it, if you're busy, if you're taking the kids to basketball, whatever you're doing, you can just come back to the app and start it when you want to go. And to be honest, we get just as many views outside of the actual race weekend as we do during the race weekend. So I highly recommend it. Plus, you can look up what's going on with the stats and where the championship's going. A little bit of info, got some great interviews. Ben's done a bunch of interviews, and I've done a few myself during this period of lockdown, if you will. It's been interesting, learned a lot about our drivers. And in fact, I was laughing, saying to you, Ben, I don't think I would have got to know half of these drivers as well at a race weekend, because they're busy, you're busy, they're racing, and you're in the booth. So we've had a chance to learn a little bit about this man from Manheim, Pennsylvania. He's a Miata expert. It's Tyler Casera. Interesting story if it is going to be a duel between Hurley and Casera, but I do think Carl Rydquist, another Californian, will have something to say about that. He's right up there. He
just moved between them.
Yeah, I just saw that. 122.6. So as we get down to the checkered flag, it's going to be nip and tuck. Hurley's put in his best time at 122.5. Rydquist at 122.6. Fastest five, Savagian 123.1. And so he's right there is Edward Savagian, who just literally got here last minute. I don't think he took part in the practice. Casera, though, 122.9. He's a couple of tenths off, but at this very fast track, and that is something that you notice straight away, is how quick this Bridgehampton circuit is. Another new boy, Ben Yahia, in 11th place from Miami, Florida. And the name is Moroccan descent. His father's Moroccan and his mother was from Belgium. And thankfully we had him along last week so she could help you out. And did you get out of Spa okay?
I did. It took a long time. Lots of different talks with different ambassadors and everything, but I am back in the United States and happy to be here at Bridgehampton.
Well, good. I'm glad that's the case. Ben Sissel getting into trouble with the locals at Spa, but you got to be careful when you're in the forests of Ardennes.
Yeah.
They rule the roost. So that's qualifying, and it was a good qualifying session too. But interestingly enough, the man who says his back's against the wall is putting those new Heusen-Veld pedals to good use, because the fastest man around the famous Bridgehampton circuit is Josh Hurley. And interestingly enough, Carl Rydquist has stepped between our two arch rivals and has gone second quickest by 0.154. Casera, where he needs to be on the second row, a 22.9, nothing wrong with that. Savagian, a winner already. So we've got guys that have been right up the sharp end all years. Nick Racino, yet to have a win, but he's right there in 5th place. Could it be here? Archer's had a win. Young Archer got a win last time out at Spa. He's 6th on the grid. JP Sutton, another 18-year-old, is in 7th position. 20-year-old Devlin DiFrancesco is 8th. Connor Daly steps in. The Carlin and Ed Carpenter IndyCar driver is 9th fastest, and he's out-qualified our champion. That is good kudos already by Connor Daly, who is a pretty decent sim driver, but he doesn't have the sophisticated setup. I've seen it. Ben Yair is in 11th place. Ricardo Parsons, surprised to see Cameron Parsons that far down in 13th. Borchetta is in 14th place despite that egg to the woods. And Vaccaro rounds out our top 15. So that's qualifying. We'll be back with the first of 2 races here in round 7 of the E-Trans Am Championship. Stay with us. Welcome back to Bridgehampton Circuit, one of our yesteryear circuits. Bridgehampton Race Circuit was one of the most popular circuits, certainly one of the most challenging back in the 50s and 60s. And Bridgehampton on Long Island, New York. A beautiful place for a race circuit, but that's why it attracted so many people. It was literally just outside of New York. And we get ready now for our first of two races, a reverse grid for race 2 of the top 10. But we start with a very interesting grid, seeing Carl Rydquist getting his first front row start alongside second in the championship, Josh Hurley. On come the lights. The first time here at Bridgehampton in many years. Out go the lights, away we go. 14 laps in all, and the wheels spin. Hurley gets away well. Casera got a good start, but can he get past Rydquist? He wants to get past as quickly as he can, because already Hurley has pulling away down that first corner, which is flat out in 5th gear on a regular lap. But this, the opening lap, will sort out the men from the boys, so to speak. I can say that because Michelle, our only female competitor, not racing this weekend. She's hopefully coming back to Lime Rock next weekend. We head down Milestone Straight and into turn 4 for the first time. Josh Hurley, followed by Rydquist, Casera, good start from Savagian. Southern has got ahead of Racino. Devlin DiFrancesco also moving up the board, as is Francis Jr. He's up to 8th. Daly is 9th, stays and holds position. Ben Ayer is up to 10th place. He's got ahead of Parsons. Good start, good clean start. And Ben, already you starting to get the feel for this track.
Yeah, this track is probably the fastest that we've been to each corner. And notice that the undulation and the just changing of the altitude, but also the pavement just seems really rough. The other thing I love about this track is I don't think any of our drivers, this will be the first track that I don't think any of our drivers have been to in real life. So it kind of evens the playing field. As we watch, Carl Rydquist is really on a tear right now in 2nd place.
Well, you'll see the speed now. I hope we go on board, because this is such a flat out. They come under the Pirelli bridge here and along the start finish to go under the 2nd bridge, the Bridgehampton Bridge, which I believe still survives actually, but it's a golf course now. But under this bridge, watch this, as they come onto the main straight, the first corner is flat out at over 160 miles an hour. Watch this. So you're diving downhill and it's off camber going in. There's plenty of dust and dirt going round as we see Cameron Parsons, who didn't have the best of qualifyings, I may add. But Cameron pushing away. I've told him he's got to do the national anthem at Lime Rock as we go on board with him, the number 88, Cameron Parsons, who's really enjoyed this E-Championship. He's got a chance. He races on the West Coast, so he's looking forward to getting back into action himself. And he's got Nick Racino, who's a good buddy of his. In fact, I think they train together. So that's pretty interesting, is that him and Racino are racing against each other on track as well, as they are. Look at them all line astern, these two. And I think Racino's trying to get past. Racino looking for a way past his buddy, Cameron Parsons. So a good start for this race, but it's still Hurley. And the gap between Hurley and Rydquist has not changed. It's still 0.6 of a second. So Carl Rydquist doing a good job of keeping our championship contender Hurley honest. Casera still there, and he is right there with Rydquist. So good battle at the front where you can see it for yourself. There's the top 3. Little bit of a distance between Savagian and 4th, but is Ed got the makings of him today, do you think, your buddy?
You know, I don't know. We didn't see him in practice, but he likes new tracks, so I think he's going to do pretty well. I think he's pretty comfortable right now seeing what happens ahead of him in the top 3. But I can't figure out what happened to Dylan Archer. Dylan Archer fell back to 13th. He's now in 12th. But he started near the front. He must have gotten hit or punted or something, because he fell back to 13th pretty quickly.
Well, I'm getting some info, some intel. I've got my intel spies out this weekend. Look at this racing, fantastic stuff. Devlin DiFrancesco holding up a whole field of racers, including Daly, who has got a new rig. I said he didn't have the best of setups. Well, he's got a brand new rig from AIS this week. So Daly means business, and he just tweeted out that he got blocked heavily, and he has full respect for that. So there you go. Let's go racing, boys. Love it. Daly in the thick of it, in the green and black. He's got 19-year-old Ben Yahia behind him. There he is in the number 9. Daly's just behind him. There's Archer. Archer currently in 12th place, and Racino! Oh no, and Borchetta going up the bank. Well, at least he didn't end up in the woods as he did last time. Well, poor old Borchetta, lonesome dove today, unfortunately. He's been in the woods in practice and now he's just got boofed off. Hurley, though, continues to lead and just does the fastest lap, a 1:22.7. So Hurley in race mode for sure. He says he hasn't had the best of preparation, looking after his ailing four-legged friend who's with him right now, but giving him full support. So Hurley is going to try to do this one. Hog, who's watching on and is a faithful watcher on the sim. And you've got an assistant in your sim, don't you, Ben?
Yeah, there's a Jesse James, my dog, is in the announcer booth with me here in Tennessee, watching the races. He's a big Edward Savagian fan as well, so he's rooting for Edward. Yeah,
he says what he likes about this circuit is it's rough. Or at least that's what he said. That's all I could work out what he was saying.
That's a good dog joke. I like that.
Thanks. Back with Archer. We'll ignore that. Back down the hill, and you mentioned the undulations. You know, 130 feet of undulation and different elevation changes in this track as we head down towards the hairpin. Good racing. Archer on Daly. Archer up the inside. Dylan Archer, get in there, son. And the young 18-year-old, the future Trans Am star, has just shown a top IndyCar driver the way to go in Trans Am. Nice work, number 32. Former winner Archer won last time out for the first time, and you've mentioned his pedigree. Is Dad watching him still?
Yeah, I talked to his dad a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to be in the room next weekend announcing the Lime Rock race with you, but in the room with Dylan because we're going to be racing at Road America. And Bobby says that he likes to sit on Dylan's bed watching over his screen and telling him what to do. And possibly Bobby raced at Bridgehampton or came to Bridgehampton, but to have your coach, Bobby Archer, is pretty good. And we're excited because the wheels are moving, and we think that Dylan Archer may be in a TA2 car in 2020.
Well, that would be really exciting news. And of course, the Archer name synonymous with Trans Am. A couple of generations of Archers have raced. Look at Tyler Casera. Casera still in third place. There is nothing between the top three. This is probably the closest start we've had to any of the races. And Spa was brilliant watching them dice out for position. I missed you there, man. I could have done with you in the booth then because it was nip and tuck. But this one looks as though it's going to be the same. Hurley trying to put down some quick laps and trying to see if he can gap himself. We're getting towards the halfway point of this first race. And I'm looking at Daly in 10th position. Remember, if Daly can stay 10th or thereabouts, he's going to start the second race in pole position, which would be quite an accolade. And now with that new rig, Connor Daly could be a factor in this one.
Yeah, we just got word from Connor Daly. I hope it's his people that he just put it out that he needs a spotter in this race. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, he's got none of the luxuries of IndyCar at the moment, that's for sure.
So what's the strategy here, Jonathan? If you're Casera sitting back there in third place, are you trying to get by, or are you just happy with staying in third place and hoping that something happens ahead of you?
It's a double-edged sword because Casera has got a 6-point lead, but if you had a 6-point lead and there's 75 points up for grabs of a weekend, you're not going to sit back and say, okay, I'll take third place. I think Casera's just got to go for it. First and foremost, he's got to get past Rydquist. That takes less points away from him because obviously the further down Casera finishes, the more ahead Josh Hurley's going to be if he can't get past Josh Hurley. I mean, ultimately, Casera needs to win the race, and he won the first 2 practice races, as I mentioned. So he's no slouch around here. He's got plenty of laps. He looked very quick. I spent a lot of time on board with him during the practice race, and he looked very comfortable indeed. But he has done all season. So to answer your question, as we go back to Parsons, as he fights with Daly, I think Casera's got to get past Rydquist, and he's got to do it soon. We're at the halfway point of the race, 7 of the 14 gone, and there's battles throughout. This is Daly versus Parsons. Daly in the green, just ahead of Cameron Parsons, who probably getting quite a thrill racing against an actual bona fide IndyCar driver. His father, of course, Derek Daly, a famous Formula One driver. I remember watching Derek in the early days of growing up. Great driver. And a good man, too. So, Bridgehampton, flat out, 160 miles an hour through turn 1 and turn 2. Then down towards, bouncing over the curves there. Daly getting into trouble as they dive into turn 3. Millstone corner. 4th gear, and then down the Millstone straight towards turn 4. Fantastic circuit. I'm really loving this. I say we bring all the old circuits back. I think it's great.
Yeah, I do too. It's really fun to watch, and it's really neat to see all the drivers' preparation because they don't have the data or they don't have the laps here to go into. So they just have to go into this really raw and just some of them I heard had watched some historical footage to try to get something, but that doesn't do much with these modern cars and the speeds that they're going.
Oh, here comes Archer. He's having a go. Go on, Archer. On Ben Yahia, the 19-year-old, and Archer doing a really good job of driving safely, fast, and doing good overtakes and clean overtakes. And that, you know, he's only 18, and he's just got past another teenager at 19 in Ben Yahia from Miami, Florida. I wonder if he could be a future player.
Maybe, but I'll tell you what, Archer's coming up on Di Francesco, and there is a little bit of a rivalry starting between Archer and the Di Francesco brothers. So we're going to see if he's able to cleanly make a pass or if they're going to go at it here at Bridgehampton.
Yeah, we've got a real combination of our regulars in Trans Am, and we've got a few ringers that have come in because they love sim racing, and the Di Francesco brothers are a couple of those ringers. Devlin, I know quite well. He is currently in FIA Formula 3, although he hasn't turned a wheel yet, but he'll be going to Austria and will be part of the F3 grid as the, I think, lone Canadian. There's an American, Logan Sargent, also racing in FIA F3. We've had Juan Manuel Correa, the American from Miami in Formula 2. He raced here in Trans Am. He may come back for the last race, but Devlin, good to have him on board, and his brother Lachlan, who's a little bit younger actually. Lachlan, kart racer at 17, but a big sim racer, so we've had both of them involved. But I think Lachlan's got a lot of weight, and I think has decided that it was too much weight for him to be competitive. But back to Casera, he's starting to make a move now as we look back from Carl Rydquist. And it's interesting.
I was wondering, watching this lap, is Casera faster than Rydquist but just can't get around him, and is that what's given the gap to Hurley, or are these two guys just struggling to keep up and Hurley's just got this track on lock? I don't know yet.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a combination. You can see the gap for yourself there, Hurley pulling away. The gap is exactly 1.7 seconds, but I think it's the latter. I think that Casera is being held up by Rydquist, and he just can't find the best place to overtake. And it's hard to work out. I think into the hairpin where we saw Archer make that move on Daly. That's the place that I think would be the most obvious, and he's coming up to it fairly soon. Two left-handers and then down towards that position, but I don't think he's close enough. He's not far away. So here's where I'm talking about, and he's exactly thinking what I was thinking. Here into the hairpin would be the best base, but you can see Rydquist has got it covered off. Now, the next opportunity for Casera is down this east straight, it's called. Now, this is the long straight down towards the last complex, which is known as Arnett's Corner, or Arnett's Corner, which is the last corner, and potentially getting stuck behind as they go on to the main straight. That would be my advice for Casera, was to try to tuck himself in, go down the main straight, and then make a move perhaps into turn 3. That's the next obvious overtake, but that's a very fast corner too, as we go back with Borchetta, who's managed to regain some positions, having gone off. He's down in 16th position at the moment. Got to do a shout out for Scott. He was very gracious in showing us his collection, but I asked him what his ambition was in sim racing, because he's actually new to Trans Am too. In fact, he and Edward Savagian did their first real test of TA2 at Eagle Canyon this week, and Edward there to help him out. So he's going into the real world of TA2 racing, having been a Group 6 SVRA, which you can tell us all about. So has Scott got what it takes to go TA2, do you think?
Yeah, I do. A lot of our Group 6 guys have kind of migrated over to TA2 and are doing really well, but knowing Scott, he has gotten so fast so quickly, and he has taken this racing very seriously, and he's one of our fastest in Group 6, which is our most competitive group, and I think he's going to do really well in TA2, knowing just how hard he works and studies the art of racing.
Well, now we're on board with Casera. We can see what he's struggling with now. We'll see where he's faster or slower as he comes onto the main straight. This is perfect. We're on board with Tyler Casera, the championship leader by 6 points. He's currently in 3rd position. They cross the strip now and head down to the ominous first turn. And as you can see, he's at, 165 as he heads under the bridge now, flat out, in 6th gear. And this is really scary stuff. This is turn 3 where I said there might be an opportunity. And the next one is the next right-hander. It's a third gear right-hander that leads on to Echo Valley. And Casera will look for maybe a way past here, but again, he's not quite close enough. So into Echo Valley they go through, staying in third gear, up to fourth gear for a moment. Up next, it's all uphill into the left-hander, but again, Casera not near enough. As they head back up the hill through 6 and 7, we look back from Ridequist. He's doing a really good job of hanging on to this, looking in his mirrors and driving as hard as he dare. Now through 8 and 9, and the next opportunity for Casera will be at the hairpin, but again, you can see for yourself, he's just not close enough. Here comes the hairpin. And you can hear from riding on board with Ridequist how he's off the gas as they go through the apex of it as early as he can for this East Straight, the final straight here at Bridgehampton. But as time runs out, the clock ticking down as Josh Hurley doing a really good job of putting in the laps, and a mistake by Ridequist there on the exit of the final turn will surely give Casera a chance down the main straight. This is his best opportunity of the race, and he's going to take it. They're side by side as they come down towards the first turn. This is going to be scary, and he's done it. Oh, great stuff. Tyler Casera just whipped back in because he knew that he wouldn't be able to go through that 160-mile-an-hour turn side by side, so he whipped across on Ridequist. That was classic Trans Am racing.
That was, and you know, I've been really impressed with Carl Ridequist throughout this Esports Championship because he's always up there up front, but he always seems to make good decisions. He knew he made the mistake getting onto the main straight, and he didn't make a mistake putting both of them out as Casera came across him. And now we're going to see if Casera can catch up to Hurley, but I don't know. He's up there quite a bit.
Yeah, the gap is 2 seconds with 2 laps to go, and so it's going to be a mountain to climb here at Bridgehampton. All the greats from Sterling Moss, Bruce McLaren, the Bruce and Denny show came here back in the 70s. Can-Am, very famous here, as was Trans Am. So all the greats, Dan Gurney, you name it, all raced here. And now Bridgehampton, revived by the E-Trans Am by Pirelli series, and we're delighted to be here, that's for sure. So a little further back, there's Arcado in the number 5. Good to have him on board. He's been a regular. He's down in 14th position, battling with Borchetta, as you can see, just ahead. Borchetta now up to 13th position, so Scott's done a good job of recovering, having been knocked out. It wasn't his fault, I may add. Scott Borchetta wanted me to give a shout out to Main Gear, who supplied him with another computer. We mentioned it in qualifying. Scott Borchetta has done more laps than anybody else, and I think he's used more computers than anybody else. I was just watching the virtual Le Mans, and when the big boys like Simon Pagenaud, an Indy 500 winner, broke his steering wheel in the middle of the 24-hour race and had a spare rig sitting in his bedroom. Now that's preparation. I don't think Scott had that much preparation, so he had to make the phone call and get Main Gear in. Now he's under pressure. Oh, this is Ernie Francis Jr. and Devlin DiFrancesco. This is a good battle. And that's a battle for 6th and 7th. And Ernie's got his hands full now of the youngster, the 20-year-old from Canada. Is all over the man from Florida, the 6-time champion. So this is a real good battle. And try as he might, Devlin can't get past Ernie.
No, but we've got some drama up front because it looks like it was Ridequist holding back Casera just a little bit, because Casera in 2nd place did get fastest lap. So a couple of more laps, I think he would have gotten them. But now that we're closing in on the end of this race, I think it's going to be really tough for Casera to get Hurley.
Well, officially the time is down to 1.8 seconds, but Hurley has just gone, wow, that's great. Great reaction by Hurley. A 23, his fastest lap, and a 23.3 from Casera. So they're both putting in their fastest laps in the closing stages here. This is the final lap here from Bridgehampton, round 7 of the Trans Am by Pirelli Esports Championship. Ben Sissel and Jonathan Green bringing you the action as Ernie Francis Jr., our 6-time 22-year-old champion, is holding off the 20-year-old from Canada, Devlin DiFrancesco. This is the battle for 6th place. Remember, Ernie Francis Jr., 3rd in the championship, but some 38 points off Josh Hurley at the moment, and Casera leading the way. Now, this should level up the points, if not give Hurley the overall lead. But Casera has achieved one thing that I said he had to do, and that was get second and get past Ridequist. It was an absolutely audacious move into turn 1. Didn't think it was possible, but he made it stick, all because Ridequist made one mistake out of the last corner, and that's all it took. Josh Hurley will be looking in his mirrors, but he's comfortable, and he has been all race. He was fastest in practice, despite not having the practice time and despite getting used to new equipment. But Hurley doing what he's done all season long, and he comes towards the checkered flag, and Josh Hurley is going to win his 4th E-Championship race and retake the championship lead. What a way to do it. What a way to bring Bridgehampton back. And Josh Hurley, as we look at Southern, coming to complete in 5th place behind Edward Savajian. And there is JP Southern crossing the line in 5th. Ernie Francis does hold off Di Francesco to take 6th place. Di Francesco is 7th. Benny Yahia is in 8th position. Then Archer, winner at Spa, is 9th. Racino drops to 10th. Parsons 11th. Daly in the end, there he is. Oh, somebody getting in trouble. That's Casera doing a bit of a celebration. No donuts here, Ben, but plenty of sand to make some castles with. Oh, that's Josh Hurley celebrating, excuse me.
Well, he told us he was complaining. Remember, he complained in driver's meeting that whenever he's want to race donuts and we don't show it. So now the director is showing us donuts.
Fair enough, fair enough. He's going to burn out that motor, though. The virtual mechanics are going to be virtually unstoppably mad. Let him
Jonathan,
celebrate.
that was a really fun race to watch. It's so cool to be here at Bridgehampton in what we're calling a throwback track, but this definitely is a throwback track. It looks like nothing that we race because of the modern safety features and tracks these days. And it was fun. And again, it seems like our top guys always show up week after week.
Yeah, no question about it. The guys that have been at the front at the sharp end of this E-Trans Am Championship are there week on week. That ends our first race. And remember, if you're new to this, we have a second race coming up in just a couple of minutes, so don't go away. And it'll be a reverse top 10. And I'm just reminding myself of where the top 10 were, but we'll get confirmation of that in a moment. But I think Daly won't be far off the sharp end. But yeah, that's been it was one of the most thrilling races, and that overtake into this corner coming down the hill was pretty darned impressive. Here we go then, confirmation of race 1's results. Hurley with the win, Casera second, Ryquist, Savajian, Southern, Francis Jr., Di Francesco, then Yahia in 8th, Archer and Racino. So Racino will start pole alongside Archer. Daly is in 12th position, so he will start there. And it's going to be interesting. So what do you think now you know the grid lineup for race 2, Ben? Real quick.
Oh, I'm going to say, expect Dylan Archer to be up there at front as well as Racino. But you know who I've been really impressed with that we don't talk about much is JP Southern. I can't wait to see him in a TA2 car this year with Stevens Miller, but he's doing great in this Esports.
Good call for a podium in the next race. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back from Bridgehampton after this. Welcome back to the E-Championship, Trans Am's E-Championship, presented by Pirelli, as we are at Bridgehampton, where you say, well, you may not have heard of it, but it's up there in New York State, on Long Island, or it was back in the 60s, in the golden age, as we call it, of Trans Am racing. And certainly in the Can-Am and Trans Am days of the late 60s and early 70s, this is where the action was. Some 80,000 people would crowd in to this spit of a racetrack. And I say that because it really is on the sand dunes, as you can see. And it was a classic place to go racing. And Sterling Moss described it as the most challenging circuit in America. So we have a reverse top 10 grid for our second race of the day. Nick Racino in the all purple and black 33 will lead them away, but will Dylan Archer beat him to the first bridge Or will it be a bridge too far? I'll get my movie slogans in. Here we go. On go the lights. Revs go up. Out go the lights, and away goes Racino. And Nick Racino dives off the line, but Archer, I think, got away better. Archer has got away better than Racino, and he's alongside already, and I think he's just nudging ahead, but this is where it gets tricky, because Archer's got to slot back in, and he has done. Nice work by the young teenager. And already, Devlin DiFrancesco, is that Savagian or Borchetta going wide? Somebody's gone off in one of the big machine vodkas. He'll need one after that. Who was that, Ben?
I can't tell. I saw that it was Ridequist, which is surprising, but I can't tell who was... yeah, it must have been Savagian, because he's back into 18th place right now.
Well, the big news is Casera, and by the way, the gap between... Oh, Francis Jr., there was no gap there, and Casera said, see you, champ. Oh, Ernie Francis Jr. getting no respect there from Tyler Casera, but Casera's got a championship to win, and he's ahead of Hurley, who's got his own problems right now. Hurley fighting with Ben Yahia, who has been very aggressive of late, and the young 19-year-old does not want to get in the way of Josh Hurley, and Hurley knows all too well he does not want to get mixed up in a midfield battle, but he can now see Casera clearly because he's got ahead, and he's got Casera in his sights just ahead. There's Ridequist coming through on Ben Ayer. So Ridequist is through. He's making his way through the field. Connor Daly just behind them. Down the main straight. There's DiFrancesco. He's got ahead. That was a good start from DiFrancesco. He's up to second place, and here comes Ridequist. Ridequist got away, and now he's under pressure again. Ben Yahia trying to go side by side with him. Goes to the outside, goes to the inside. Great racing. Ridequist holds him off. Meanwhile, Hurley up to sixth place with Casera in fifth. Southern, the man you said could get a podium, he's in position to do so. He's fourth at the moment. JP Southern, good call, Ben. There he is.
Yeah, this is a really fun race to watch.
Oh, look at this! Oh. Southern up to second place. How did he do that? Oh, or is he? Devlin DiFrancesco sends him wide, and back goes Southern, having made 3 places up. And look at this battle. Down towards the hairpin they come, and we go on board with Hurley Burley, because it is just that. He gets past Racino on the left-hander. He's now got Casera in his sights, but Devlin DiFrancesco is the joker, so to speak. He's a little leery, is old DiFrancesco. And he is not involved in the championship chase. And in the driver's briefing, they were told summarily not to get in the way of the championship fight. But that hasn't been the case in race 1. We heard race control getting rather irate, young Ed.
And I hate to add some drama here, but I've got to say, Josh Hurley now has a 2-point lead over Casera, who's just in front of him. And I think both of them don't want to have DiFrancesco to have to pass. Just historically, he's done some things to make some people angry on the track. So it's heating up right here as our points leaders in this championship series come up to the person that they probably most likely not want to pass.
Well, if you remember last time out at Spa, sadly, Josh Hurley was hit from behind and was taken out of one of the Spa races, which is what lost him the championship lead, and he'll be all too aware of that. Casera, though, lining himself up. They're both tiptoeing almost gingerly up towards the Kimoa-sponsored DiFrancesco, just a 20-year-old F3 single-seater expert, and has been racing in Europe for a lot of his career. Hasn't gone the Indy route, but he may still do that, and he's trying to get into Formula One and follow in the footsteps of Jacques Villeneuve and Gilles Villeneuve before that, and of course...
But look at the gap that's given Dylan Archer up front now.
Yeah,
as our 2 leaders try to pass DiFrancesco, Dylan Archer's just running away with over a 3-second lead right now.
Well, this could be Dylan Archer's second win. He won at Spa, and there's not been too many winners. We've now had 4 wins for Casera, 4 wins now for Hurley, 1 at Daytona for Ernie Francis Jr., 1 at Riverside for Edward Savagian, and Archer, of course, winning at Spa. Cameron Lawrence winning at Road Atlanta as well. So, still, Casera and Hot Josh Hurley, both are championship leaders behind Devlin DiFrancesco, who does he get out of the way there? I don't think so. Well, Tyler is getting alongside him, but I don't think no, I said that. He's not being polite. In fact, he's not getting out of the way, and now they get him out of the way. Into the woods goes Welcome to Trans Am, young man. And that was, well, to be fair, if I was race director, I'd actually give the benefit of the doubt to the guys chasing him because they were faster. Ben, your thoughts on Into the Woods, DiFrancesco?
I don't know how I'm going to call that.
DiFrancesco.
Leave that up to the professionals. But now they're dealing with lap traffic already this early in the race. So it must be, White must have had some problems, and now they got to get past lap traffic in a really tough circuit to pass. Yeah,
so, and you're absolutely right. And they're coming up on that lap traffic. I think that's Borchetta. And yeah, you're right. Now they've got to be careful, and they've got to, this is where it becomes tactical. This is where it becomes very tactical indeed. Oh, in fact, that's White. Sorry, I mistook the car, but it's Rich White in the number 1. Yeah, he's in 20th place. And as you can see, Hurley's alongside. There's Racino. There's Ryquist.
Look at Ryquist using the pick.
Yeah. Nicely done. Ryquist goes through. Carl Ryquist to California. Can't quite do it. Oh, and Hurley almost blows the whole year in one move. And it was all his own fault because he was pushing hard. Away goes, sadly, Rich White, who couldn't handle the pressure, sadly. And under pressure from the leaders coming through and gets a little squirrely and I think takes himself out. But Casera building now ahead and away from Josh Hurley, just what Casera wanted in this race. A little bit of breathing space between himself and Hurley.
Yeah, but Jonathan, we were talking before these races began today, and you called Dylan Archer to win one of these races.
I did.
And now he's 3 seconds ahead of Casera. Do you think Casera can pull up and make this a race?
If I know Casera and he's an engineer at heart, I think he's going to play the odds here, and I think he's going to be sensible. He's not a hothead, is Tyler Casera. He's been so determined and dedicated to this E-Trans Am Championship. I really do think that either Josh Hurley and Casera obviously deserve the overall championship. Meanwhile, look at this, Daly and Francis battling it out for the top 10. Daly just ahead of Ernie Francis Jr. using rather interesting braking maneuvers, and I think Francis will get by him here. I just heard that on Twitch, Connor saying that he's still not got his head round driving a Trans Am car. Well, don't worry. Connor, when you've got a weekend off, come and join us. We'll take you out. We'll get you some help. And you could do the real thing with us. That would be a real thrill.
Yeah, that would. I love when we have we had Paul Tracy with us in the TA2 series. Bill Elliott came and raced with us a couple years ago at Mid-Ohio. Big names of racing come and race in TA2 or in TA, and they just have a blast with us.
I want to get Willie T back in a car. He lives down the road from me. We'll get him going. Look at this. Great racing, three-way battle. Francis gets through on Daly. Savagin looking for a way past as well. Savagin in the 38 already, and he gets past Daly too, or does he? They're side by side as they go under the bridge and into the left-hander. Daly's got the better line through here, but Savagin makes it stick. Nice move by Edward Savagin, a winner already in this championship and driving mightily. Edward Savagin, of course, the coach to Scott Borchetta. And like I said, they were testing their TA2 car just outside Dallas at Eagle Canyon last week. And really excited by that news, getting to know Scott this week and looking how determined he is to go and do the real thing. And I say the real thing, SVRA is certainly the real thing, but to do the rough and tumble of TA2, no mean feat. And delighted to welcome Scott Borchetta to the fold, and he'll be taking on the likes of Edward when we go back to the real world. Now, halfway through this race, Dylan Archer has checked out. DiFrancesco has been decommissioned.
Jonathan, I just got word. Got word from John Claggett, the president of Trans Am, who put this whole thing together with us Esports, that if it finishes just like this, with Casera in second and Hurley in third, that they will go into the last round at Lime Rock tied for the lead in this esports. And Josh Hurley told us weeks ago in one of the race briefings, one of the drivers' meetings, that he may not be able to make the Lime Rock race because of a prior commitment, but he's going to try. And I'm guessing now if they end up like this, he's going to try really hard to make it. If I know Josh Hurley, he's going to be in the championship.
A lot of our drivers are in the movie business, like Tommy Dreesy and Scott Borchetta in the music business. I tell you, there's a Hollywood script here on our E-Trans Am Championship. If that is the case, that is going to be fantastic. Now, your boy Southern, just saw him in 6th place. There he is, crossing the line now in the number 61. He's currently in 6th. He's got some work to do if he's going to make that podium, but never say never in this particular racing as they dive through turn 1 again. And now, Edward Savajian eyeing up a chance to go overtake Ernie Francis Jr. He's trying to force him into a mistake as they go through 2. Coming up to 3, down to 3rd gear here. Slight dab on the brakes and then back down the Millstone straight, excuse me. Then it's Cola Santa corner coming here, this right-hander, 4th gear, and into Echo Valley, which is slightly uphill, and dives then into the left-hander, Fox Hill Overlook, as it's known. Good place for the RVs, as you can see on the right there. And then they dive back uphill, through the woods again, diving downhill again towards the hairpin.
Well, Casera is closing the gap on the leader right now, Dylan Archer, but then Hurley is also just slowly closing the gap on Casera. So 8 laps into a 14-lap race, this could get heated up there in the podium.
Well, they've been fighting hard for the last 7 weeks, and there's been a lot of laps and a lot of work put into this. And here comes Ernie Francis Jr. on Parsons. He's got a run on Parsons. Parsons gets out the way of both of them, quite rightly. Good driving by Cameron Parsons on the last corner there. Lets them through, goes a little wide to give them plenty of room. And now Francis and Savajian can go at it as they cross the strip together. Flat out 5th gear here. And they're not letting off much going down turn 1. As we go back to Rydquist, currently in 4th position. There he is, the gap to Hurley in 3rd. Now, this would be interesting if Rydquist can get past Hurley, which there's no reason why he wouldn't want to. A, because it's a podium, and he hasn't had many of those. In fact, has he had any?
I think he did early on, but a couple of races ago, he had a lot of weight and finished, I think, 5th place with a ton of weight, so he is a really good sim driver.
Yeah, Rydquist currently 9th in the championship, so he wants all the points he can get. You're absolutely right. He did finish on the podium in Barcelona. There you go. We've been all around the world. We started at Laguna Seca. Look at Rydquist. He makes a mistake there, and he's got to be careful to hold it all together. He's lost all the impetus he made there on Hurley, and that's a real shame. We saw it firsthand. The director, Jens, doing a brilliant job. Super Jens, as I call him. Has been on the money, as have all the Talk Motorsport guys throughout this season. I want a big thanks to UMG and Talk Motorsports for hosting these events for Trans Am. Never easy with 30 professional racing drivers, some of which have got a lot of sim skills and some of which don't, but Savajian using all his skills to go side by side with Ernie Francis Jr., and something's got to give into turn 1. They are side by side. Savajian just squeezes through, or does he? Back comes Ernie Francis Jr. at 2. And it's just a slight mistake by the man from Dallas, Texas. But it's still going on. Down the milestone straight they go. Into Cola Santa corner. And look at this, Ben, side by side.
And what I love about this, Jonathan, are these are mutual fans of each other.
Yeah.
Edward Savajian loves watching Ernie Francis in the TA class, and Ernie has loved watching Edward in the vintage group of Group 6 at the front with his Corvette, and now they're racing against each other in this esports, giving each other the room and the respect, but not giving each other an inch.
Well, this is incredible. Oh, no! And just as I say that, a slight touch from Ernie Francis Jr., and I have to say that was not intentional. I do not think that Ernie for any one moment thought that he could do something special there. I think what happened was that Ed may have braked late earlier than Francis Jr. was expecting, but either way, both of them go off in what was a tantalizing run towards the line, and sadly it's come to blows, but I say racing incident there. I'm not the race director though. Meanwhile, Tyler Cassera marching on towards, well, in fact, I say marching on. Look, he's taken the gap down to 0.9. I said he was going to settle for second place. What do I know? Tyler Cassera from Manheim, Pennsylvania, on it. Very much so. The former Miata man making a name for himself in Trans Am. And he's still got a chance to beat Archer here with 11 of the 14 laps gone. He's right there. There's Hurley in third place. He's 2 seconds off it. And I don't think he's going to try anything too heroic. But you never know. Tyler Cassera can possibly see the opportunity to get some points up on Hurley. And Archer, already a winner last time out. Still a long way back is Archer. Dylan Archer, just the 17-year-old, but we're expecting him to go racing next year, did you say?
Yeah, I think so. But, you know, there's something about Tyler Cassera always seems to make the smart move. But the gambler in him has to think if he could pass Archer and put Archer between he and Hurley, that's just more points lead going into the final round of this championship.
Well, Dylan Archer is fighting Carl Reitquist for a top 10. Cameron Lawrence not racing this weekend. He's in 8th position. Nick Racino having problems in that previous race. So there's a really good opportunity here for Dylan Archer to win this race and go back-to-back and move up the board. But as you can see, Cassera closing in bit by bit. And now there is absolutely nothing between them as we look back down the www.archerbrothers.com wing of Dylan Archer. He's in trouble.
He is in trouble by Cassera, and I just got word from DeFrancesco that he is really hoping that the stewards look into that incident where he was punted into the woods. And right now, DeFrancesco is saying that Cassera is to blame. So this thing is just heating up with drama, Jonathan.
Well, clearly his phone's still working because he's out there in the woods texting race control. I love it. Archer on his way, but can he hold off Cassera? Big party planned in New York City tonight at one of the nightclubs. Of course, I'm not old enough to get in, and it's your regular place, I think, Ben.
Yeah, it's called McDonald's. It's really well known.
The Scottish restaurant. Know it well.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's very famous.
We will be holding court. Cassera trying everything for the Carbotech sponsored number 4 as they come onto the main straight again. Cassera winding himself up for a go at Archer. Archer will be looking in his mirrors. A 1:23.1 by Archer. He's up the pace. A 1:23.4 by Cassera. He too is up the pace, and Hurley's gone quicker. Here comes Hurley for a last run at this. 13 of 14 laps gone, and Hurley is the fastest man out there. Everybody putting in their quick laps now with the lower fuel load.
Wow, this is really heating up, and I just got word from race control that they are looking into the incident. So even after this race finishes, there may be some more things to come out. But what do you think, Jonathan? You think Cassera can take Archer here?
I think he's going to have a go because Hurley's on a rip too. Hurley in the distance there as we go back on board with Tyler. Let's take a look as he goes uphill. Now, the next opportunity for a real overtake. And we saw Ernie Francis Jr. getting in trouble just here. In fact, it was just here under that braking spot there where he hit into the back of Savagian. But the next overtake is possibly into the hairpin here, but as you can see, just not close enough at the moment. What he needs to do is get good drive here, get into 4th as soon as he can, and he does so now, and then get through that gearbox and tuck himself underneath. We've seen him go around the outside at turn 1 before. Will he be audacious enough to do it again? I wonder. Hurley is coming though. Time is running out. Onto the main straight they come to start the final lap. Nothing between the leaders. Great stuff. Just like Spa, here we go again. Archer versus Cassera, the teenager against the more experienced 30-year-old. And look how close they are, flat out. And Archer in trouble now. Cassera hits the dirt for a second. That'll lose him a 10th, but it hasn't lost him too much as they dive through turn 3. Here comes Cassera. He's got the line now into the next right-hander. Good stuff from Cassera. He's surely got the line, and he goes through, takes the lead. Brilliant driving by Tyler Cassera, who will take the championship lead going into the final round if he can hold this lead here in the final lap. Ben, your call. Is it going to be Archer? Is it going to be Cassera?
I don't know. I think Archer was even too gracious there. I think Archer knows what's at stake here, and he's trying to be a really good gentleman racer. So I think he kind of gave Casera that corner, just knowing what's at stake. But Jonathan, I just did get word from John Claggett that in honor of the throwback, he says he's taking us to Studio 54 tonight with Joe Namath.
Brilliant! And then down to Harlem for the Cotton Club. Can't go wrong. We'll be having a laugh. So, Tyler Casera, he's having a laugh. He's having a great time here at Bridgehampton. And Tyler Casera, one of his home races, effectively the man from Pennsylvania, not far away, is going to take the checkered flag away from Dylan Archer. What a weekend of racing. Archer won the first one. Tyler Casera wins the second one. Hurley will come across the line in third place to keep it honest for the final round at Lime Rock. Ridequist takes fourth place. Racino, the man you're looking at now, is fifth. Then comes Southern in sixth. Ben Yahia is in seventh position. Arcado in eighth. Parsons ninth. And Edward Savagian, after that dust-up with Daly, there he is 10th with Connor Daly. And welcome to Trans Am, Connor Daly. And I say from all the Trans Am community, anytime you want to throw your legs into a Trans Am car, we would love to have you, my man. Great that he could show up for this weekend. Donuts then, here at Bridgehampton. It's party time on the beach here in Rhode Island. Well done, Tyler. He deserves that. Wow, that was just a great overtake. And I agree. I think Archer was being sensible. He didn't want to fight for that corner. But Tyler did the right thing. He jinked out. It was very similar to Lecombe at Spa, where if you've got that inside line, you really can't do much about it if you can get alongside before the corner. And that's what he did. And two great overtakes from Tyler Casera. His racecraft, second to none in this championship.
Yeah, that was really fun to watch. And like you said, Hurley won race one, Casera wins race two, and I think unofficially, if it stands like this, Casera goes in now with a +4 points advantage going into our last round at Lime Rock.
Which doesn't give him too much of an advantage. That could easily evaporate within a couple of laps. So no one's counting their chickens, and no one's crossing the road. Great race, great weekend. Congratulations to Dylan Archer and to Tyler Casera. They're our winners today, and that means Tyler Casera extends his lead, but not by much, as you quite rightly point out. Casera then with the win, ahead of Archer in second place, Josh Hurley in third, then Ridequist, Racino, Southern, Ben Yahia in seventh position, Arcado, eighth, Parsons and Savagian, and then Connor Daly in 11th place, and he does beat Ernie Francis Jr. That's good bragging rights, my man. I hope you're on Twitch right now telling everybody you beat the six-time champion and fought for it. Well done. Fine, Latoski, Winston, Borchetta, White, Vaccaro, Lopez, and Devlin DiFrancesco violently texting on his phone from the woods.
Yeah, I did get a group text from everybody, though, that Dylan Archer was the first to congratulate Tyler Casera, said it was great racing with you. So the camaraderie that's happening in this esports paddock is just like the camaraderie in the Trans Am paddock.
Well, thanks for everybody tuning in around the world. Me and Ben are off to New York City to party hard. But before we do that, I think we'll have a trip down to the stewards for a quick lime soda and a listen in on what is going on, because it's far from over. One more round to go in our E-Trans Am Championship. That will be at Lime Rock next weekend. Same time, same bat channel. From me, Jonathan Green. See you then.